Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Are you tired of the same old blah, 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 blah from the media? Do you like unfiltered commentary? Would you like to go back to the days when our rights meant something? Well, you've come to the right place, Crisco's Corner. The fight to get back the ideals of our founders will be long and hard. Please support the channel by subscribing. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back to Crisco's Corner. One of the rare times I'll go to the New York Times, what is their saying again? I forget. Democracy dies in the darkness. Is that the Washington Post? Either way, they're both crap. Republicans fearing Trump's wrath, splitter over bid to overturn election. No, they're not fearing Trump's wrath. You idiots. You don't get it. The people that feel they were cheated want to be heard. Republican divisions deepened on Monday over an effort to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's victory as lawmakers weighed their fear of alienating President Trump and his supporters against the consequences of voting to reject the Democrat election. And it shows Lisa Stefanik. I'll tell you, I like her a lot. I'm in the district just below her in New York 22. That still, we have no congressperson, no representation because of the fact of all the stupid mail-in ballot fiasco. Claudia Tenney, the former Congress member here, was up by over 28,000 votes. Now it's down to 40. Then it was 14. Then it was 12. Then it was 11. So when they voted for House Speaker, I had no representation in Congress because of what the Democrats did. I like her a lot. In fact, I called her office. She's in the Adirondacks. The District 22 is basically from Binghamton through to Utica, northeast. And then just above Utica in the Adirondack area is Elise Stefanik's. I called her office. I said, if I can't have Claudia Tenney, I wish I had Elise. And I like her a lot. She puts up with no bullshit. And she's the youngest woman, by the way, ever elected to Congress. Whatever happened to all the women? Stick together. We need women. We need women. Well, no. Only when there's a D in front of their name does it count. It's amazing to me. It really is. With the Wednesday vote looming on whether to certify election results, the last-ditch bid to deny Mr. Biden the presidency has unleashed upon welfare upon Republicans, leaving them scrambling to stake out a defensible stance on a test that carried heavy repercussions for their careers and their party. Who wrote this? A person that used to write for soap operas or what? On Monday, as Mr. Trump ratcheted up his demands for Republicans to try to block Mr. Biden's election, elder statesmen of the party and some rank-and-file members rushed to provide political cover for those disinclined to go along. Senator Rob Portman in the House, 7 Republicans, some of them were part of the Conservative Freedom Caucus that normally aligns with Mr. Trump, released a statement arguing at length against the effort. The text of the Constitution is clear. States select electors, Congress does not. I go through, but I don't go along with all of that. I just think they don't want to get into it. Attempts to thwart or delay this process run counter to the essential tenets of our democracy, they said in a statement signed by 170 people, including Lawrence Fink of BlackRock, Logan Green and John Zimmer of Lyft, Brad Smith of Microsoft, Albert Bourla of Pfizer, and James Zettler of Apollo Management Group. Well, you know what, guys? I don't give a shit what you think. You're not an elected person. You represent nobody. And John C. Danforth, a Republican senator and paragon of the party establishment, denounced the electoral challenge, calling it a populist strategy to drive America even further apart by promoting conspiracy theories and stoking grievances. Here's the deal. Senator Danforth, who I used to have a lot of respect for. I haven't followed him in a long time. I know he's a very religious man. The Republican Party that you represented years ago doesn't exist anymore, because the Democrats have changed it. The Democrats have changed the political landscape. Believe me, I would love to have it for senators to be on the floor arguing policy, arguing a piece of legislation, arguing or going through committee processes, even investigations. But the Democrats in the Senate and the House of Representatives both have gone so far batshit crazy that they've changed the landscape. Believe me, nobody wants this decisive bitterness, but they're tired of bringing a gun to a fight. Yeah, I had that reversed. A knife to a gunfight. They're sick of it. Republicans are sick of losing to these moronic Democrats. So they're bringing a gun to a gunfight. I say good for them. Yeah, it's messy. Yeah, it's ugly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But you know what? They didn't start this battle. They didn't start this war. Yet the effort won a high-profile convert on Monday when Senator Kelly Loeffler of Georgia announced just hours before Mr. Trump appeared at a rally on her behalf that she, too, would vote against certifying the election results, complicating the calculation for federal Republicans. Say that fast 3 times. Were fresh revelations about Mr. Trump's own efforts to subvert the election results by pressuring Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to find him enough votes to overturn Mr. Biden's win. That's not what he said, and that's not what he did. He says, I have evidence here that I won by couple of 100,000 votes easily. All I need is to find 12, 13,000. That's what he said. It's not the same. Proponents of the electoral challenge who have sought to portray their position as principled and apolitical conceded on Monday that leaked audio of the call has made their task more difficult. Yeah. The governor of Georgia did it. The governor of Georgia decided, President Trump is going after me, so now I'm going to hurt him. And that's exactly what happened. Mr. Trump used his Twitter bully pulpit on Monday. You know what? Asshole? Whoever wrote this. I used to say President Obama and still do. I don't say Mr. Obama. Show some respect. President Trump used his Twitter pulpit on Monday to hammer at Republicans who declined to back the Doom effort, labeling them the Surrender Caucus, and singling out Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. There is a battle going on in the Republican Party, just like the Democrat Party. But here's the long and the short of it is, both sides in this battle on the Republican side, the old neocons, not big fans, but they're way better than the progressive leftist morons that are pulling the Democrat Party left. And this is a battle. Make no mistake about it. This is an ideological battle. And the old neocons don't know how to fight this kind of fight. They never have. They rely on logic and facts and reason and debate. Those days are over. President also continued, how can you certify an election when numbers being certified are verifiably wrong? He has evidence that shows otherwise. I can see his position. I won't say Mr. Trump. President Trump wrote, repeating a false claim, Republicans have pluses and minuses, but one thing for sure, they never forget. Yeah, you're right. And I have amazing respect for the late Senator John McCain. And not because of when he was a POW and what he went through. I thought he was a stand-up Republican for a very long time. But he's part of that Republican Party that doesn't know how to fight these people. There are a whole new breed of Democrats out there, and the rules of war have changed. Very much like Vietnam when he was involved in. The Americans couldn't change their tactics. It actually, now to just think about it, it's very similar. And that wasn't Senator McCain's fault. I thought highly of the man. I voted for him as a Democrat. I left the party in 2013. But I voted for him. He was the first Republican president, I believe, I ever voted for. The gambit is all but guaranteed to prolong what is typically a brief and routine recap. Oh, so it takes him a couple more hours. Set to begin at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, prompting a bitter, hours-long debate that will culminate in a vote. Oh, God, we're sorry you're wasting your time. They go on and on about it, but still more Republicans announced on Monday they would back objections to certify the results. Representative Elise Stefanik of New York, a rising star in the party who led Republican efforts to create women in Congress over the past 2 years, said she owed it to her voters who believe the election was rigged to support the challenge. Yes, you're representing your constituents. This isn't like some crazy tinfoil hat crap. There's hundreds of affidavits. There's videos. There's more than enough, maybe not to prove there was fraud, but way more than enough to start a really intense investigation, which will never happen. And that's why the Supreme Court is cowardly. They babied out on it. Unbelievable. The tens of thousands of constituents and patients across the country who have reached out to me in the last few weeks, please know that I hear you. Ms. Stefanik said in a statement. Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the majority leader, and his deputies have made it clear to colleagues they strongly opposed to reverse the election results. I got to tell you, Mitch McConnell is a very good coordinator of the Senate, of his people. I'll give him that. But the rules have changed. The rules have changed dramatically. And it's not the Republicans doing. Maybe this is, in a way, is good for the Republican Party because they'll finally bring them out as the spineless, milquetoast Mitt Romneys that we always are used to. It's down and dirty. It's a brawl in the street. It's ugly and it stinks. And it's not your fault, but you have to fight it that way. This has created something of a free-for-all in the House. Lawmakers have been left to weigh on their own whether to protect the sanctity of the election and risk, there is no sanctity, and risk incurring the wrath of their constituents. Well, they represent people. If the majority of people in their district want them to object, then they should object. This isn't like some thing on abortion or something that's personally a moral thing. This is what the constituents want. Or move to overturn the results in a doomed loyalty test that could damage their party. How can it damage their party? They got crapped on. They've been getting crapped on for a long time. And some of them are finally saying enough, especially the new ones. Oh, gosh. Representative Tom Massey, Republican of Kentucky, said in an interview that he had other conservatives who came out on Monday against the challenger hoping to put forward a constitutionally grounded argument for a pro-Trump perspective that their colleagues could adopt. Okay, I mean, that sounds reasonable. I think there are a lot of people of the same mind as us, but they're looking for some kind of grounding or maybe some kind of cover, Mr. Massey said. I feel like there are people getting sucked into another vortex as the hours go by. Other Republicans, including some of the president's most ardent defenders, were plainly uneasy about the coming vote, prompting a series of tortured statements seeking to justify the most basic of democratic positions: a vote to respect the outcome of an election. Now, when they think there was something wrong with it, the easiest vote for me politically would be to object to everything and vote for every objection, said Senator Kevin Cramer, Republican of North Dakota. Said on Sunday. On Monday, Mr. Cramer issued a statement saying he would not object, adding, objecting to electoral college vote is not an appropriate or effective way to change the results. Okay, here's my question. You won't get this, Senator Cramer. You won't get this. Question was, okay, is it appropriate? And what is an effective way to change it? I didn't hear any of your suggestions before. You sat on your hands with your fingers in your ears going, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. Because it's dirty and ugly, and that's the way the Democrats roll. I'm sorry, sir. Senator Rob Portman, an Ohio Republican, was up for re-election in 2022. Well, there you go. Said in a lengthy statement that he voted for Mr. Trump, but could not object to certifying the election results, citing his opposition to similar efforts 2005. And he explains, by Monday afternoon, Mr. McConnell, come on, you know what? Who's the asshole that wrote this? Senator McConnell had dialed dozens of senators trying to map out the process on Wednesday, but remained in the dark on how many would lodge objections and to which states, according to some people familiar with the discussions. I always like that. Anonymous and people familiar with the discussions. And they go on about that. You can stop the video here and read the rest of the article if you want to. I'm just going to finish this up here. Opponents of electoral challenge are hopeful that Mr. Trump's call with Brad Ravensburger, Georgia Secretary of State, would turn away lawmakers who had been mulling joining the bid. Even senators who supported it conceded the recording hit their cause. Yeah, because Trump is not. See, you got me doing it. President Trump is not a polished politician. He doesn't look at every single word said. It's like two guys talking on the phone. Do you talk the same with your friend or a colleague as you would in a public forum being recorded? Of course not. One of the things I think that everyone has said since Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, said on Fox and Friends that this call was not a helpful call. I like Marsha Blackburn a lot. I live in upstate New York. As I explained, I'm considering moving to central Tennessee if and when I ever retire, God willing. And I like Marsha Blackburn a ton. You're right, it wasn't a helpful call. But I didn't see everybody coming to the president's defense either. I heard the audio of that call. First of all, it was disgusting that it was released. That would be like AOC getting a phone call from, say, Joe Biden and disagreeing on something strongly. And then one of the two in a phone call leaked it. It's disgusting. He didn't ask for anything illegal. That's a lie. Was he as articulate as he should have been? Of course not. He never is. But I like Marsha Blackburn a lot. But I think they're missing the entire point of all of this. I think this is caused directly by the Supreme Court's lack of judgment and backbone. The Supreme Court heard the case from the AG from Texas with all their evidence that they had to present. And they even ruled against them and upheld all the electors in the election. There were a lot of pissed off people. A lot of them understood. The majority of them were conservative people, 3 of them appointed by Trump. Maybe it's just a battle you can't win. We had our day in court. But they were turned away on a procedural technicality. And they're pissed. And they want their day in court. And the only way they're going to get it now is on the floor of the House and the floor of the Senate. And that's the part these morons don't get. They feel cheated. They want a chance at justice. That's what courts are for, especially the Supreme Court. Until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.